Hello, I'm Naomi, Assistant Professor of English, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. The topic I will be discussing today is speaking skills. What are speaking skills? Now, to give a very nice quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, speech is power. Speech is to persuade, to convert, to compel. Another quote by Dr. Marty Groth. Words have incredible power. They can make people's hearts soar, or they can make people's hearts soar. So they have such great power. Beyond strong technical knowledge, engineering employers place a high value on speaking skills. Speaking skills help students in leadership roles. They help in managing and motivating teams and training individuals. To define speaking skills, speaking is an act of making vocal sounds to converse or expressing one's thoughts and feelings in spoken language. We use words to convey information. It may be an informal remark or a scholarly presentation to something, a regular speech. We need words, we need to speak. Speaking skills allow the speaker to convey message in a passionate, thoughtful, and convincing manner. Speaking skills are the skills to communicate effectively. They give the ability to convey information verbally and in a way the listener can understand. With the right combination of words and gestures, we can spur people into action and dedicate ourselves to making people do a cause. What are some of the steps for effective speaking? Effective speaking involves three main areas. First, they are the words we choose, how you say them, and how you reinforce them with non-verbal communication. Another aspect of effective speaking is to just question the listener on the topic that you have spoken. All these affect the transmission of the message and how it is received and understood by the audience. It is worth considering the choice of words we use carefully. How we speak includes the tone of the voice and the pace. Speaking skills will probably need to use different words in different situations. Even when we are discussing the same subject, sometimes we need to use different words depending upon the situation that we are in. For example, when we are talking to a close colleague, the words will be different from what we will be using when we are presenting a subject on the same topic. At a major conference, what we speak includes the pace of the tone of a voice and the pace. Non-verbal communication is generally very important because it sends very important message to the audience about the mood of the speaker. It shows the level of interest and the commitment. It shows whether we are nervous or whether we are very excited about the topic we are speaking, about our mood. Aspects of verbal communication. 1. Volume. 2. Clarity. 3. Variety of volume. Coming to volume, the volume, it is not like controlling our voice, like how we control a remote. Some people have soft voices and physically they cannot bellow. Additionally, if the voice is raised too much, the tonal quality is lost. Instead of raising the voice, it should be projected out. Support the voice with lots of breath. The further you want to project the voice out, the breath you need also needs to come from the diaphragm, not the root. So you have to just open out and speak out loudly and not just raise your voice. When talking to a group or meeting, it is important not to aim your talk to the front row or to the people nearest to you. Instead, you need to consciously project your voice so that people in the last rows will be able to hear you well. So modulate your voice in such a manner that it causes a very pleasant and soothing effect on the audience when they are listening to your voice. Let it cause a positive effect on the audience. By raising or lowering the volume of your voice occasionally, you can create emphasis. If you drop your voice to almost a whisper, as long as it is projected for a sentence or two, be careful not to overuse this technique, though it will lose its impact if you keep using it repeatedly. It is just to awaken the audience and make them glued to your presentation. Clarity. Some speakers tend to speak through clenched teeth and with little movement of their lips. It is this inability to open mouths and the failure to make speech sounds with precision that is the cause of inaudibility. The sound is locked into the mouth and it does not give proper articulation when you are speaking. It is important to unclench the jaw, open the mouth, and make full benefit of your voice so that you can make proper attention on the proper emphasis of the words you are pronouncing. The next aspect of effective speaking is variety. To make speech effective and interesting, certain techniques can be applied. However, it is important not to sound false. It appears as if you are giving a performance. It is important that we convey meaning, but the way they are said reflects feelings and emotions. Vocal variety can be achieved by variation in pace. If speech is fast, then listeners will not have time to assimilate what is being said. It is also a good idea to vary the pace, quickening up at times and then slowing down, because this will help maintain interest in the audience. Pitch, inflection, emphasis. When speaking in public, try to convey information as much with vocal energy and enthusiasm as possible. This does not mean your voice has to swoop and dive all over the place in an uncontrolled manner. Arrange your pitch in such a manner that your talk is interesting. Your pitch shows whether you're nervous or excited. When you're tense, your vocal cords tense and shorten, causing voice to get higher. Emphasize certain words and phrases within the talk to convey their importance and help add variety with change in your tone, with the change in the pitch. Pause. Pauses are powerful. They can be used for effect to highlight the preceding statement. It helps gain attention before an important message. You can have silence for a few seconds. Listeners interpret the meaning during pauses. So, have courage to stay silent for up to 5 seconds. Dramatic pauses like this convey authority and confidence. Reinforcement. Reinforcement is the use of encouraging words with non-verbal gestures such as head nods, a warm facial expression, and maintaining a good eye contact. Reinforcement helps to build rapport. It helps the audience to participate in the discussion, especially in a group work. It shows interest in what other people say. It helps in development and maintenance of relationships. Reinforcement helps overcome fears and give reassurance to the audience. It gives warmth and openness, and it reduces shyness or nervousness in ourselves and in the audience. Another effective technique in speaking is questioning. Questioning can enable to explicitly seek support from the others. On a more social level, questioning is a useful technique to start conversations. It helps draw someone into a conversation. It shows interest. Questioning is therefore an essential element of verbal communication. Now, coming to the body language, balance a strong demeanor with a softer, more human side that can speak to the emotions of the audience members. So let your facial expressions, your eye contact show a softer human side so that you will be able to make the audience easily engage in the questioning session, and so that they will not be put off if you are serious. Now, coming to the non-verbal communication, the body language, the way we stand, the gestures, the face, the eyes, there are so many aspects of body language that create more impression on the audience than the verbal message that we are conveying. So both of them go hand in hand. If the non-verbal communication and the verbal communication are coupled together and they are positive, the speaker will really create a punch in the presentation. They say face is the index of the mind. Keep it fresh and bright. If your face has a pleasant expression, the audience can easily be involved in your conversation. Eye is the lamp of the body. So just try to see that you're very bright, your eyes are very bright, and they help the audience interact with you well through your facial expressions and your eye contact. Smile. People who are smiling while speaking likely sound better. As long as smiling is appropriate to your topic, it will look friendly and confident. The potential nervousness inside you won't appear when you smile. Coming to the importance of eye contact. The eyes are the windows of the soul. Now, what you are within can easily be reflected to the audience through your eyes. Eye contact is an important aspect of non-verbal communication. Your hands and finger movements make your conversation or a public speech compelling. They create trust in the listener, and it helps the listener easily get connected to you. Hand gestures can also emphasize certain points of speech and strengthen your public speaking message. Essentials of effective public speaking skills. The audience is not the enemy. Now, when we come to speak in front of an audience, it is quite normal that when we stand before an audience, whether it is small or large, there are certain traits of nervousness visible even for a very experienced person to start with. Now, let us remember when we are speaking that the audience is not the enemy. Do not try to get over your nervousness. There are some friendly faces in the audience who keep nodding at your talk, at your point, and they are very enthusiastic. If you, by mistake, make any mistake, locate such friendly faces, they will help you, they will encourage you to stay confident. Now, there are people who by culture are not very enthusiastic. They don't open out their feelings, and it may be a part of their culture or personality or occupation that does not permit them to show out their enthusiasm openly. So do not bother much about the audience expression. Now, how can the speaker overcome fear of public speaking? Fear of public speaking is a common form of anxiety. But with a little preparation and persistence, the speaker can overcome fear. Prepare your topic well. The better you understand what you're talking about, and the more you care about the topic, the less likely you will make a mistake or get off the track. And if you get lost, you will be able to recover quickly. Take some time to consider what questions the audience may ask and how you can respond to them readily. Another point in overcoming nervousness when we go for a presentation is get organized. Go to the place of presentation ahead of time. Carefully plan out the information of what you want to present, including the props. Now, props, when we see props, depending upon the situation, they have different meanings. If it is a theater, a prop means something that helps support the tent and everything. Now, in a presentation, props are something that create interest in the audience. It may be some jokes, it may be just some quotes, some transition words, or props can be some similes, some metaphors, some irony. So all this, they suddenly create interest in the audience and they make the audience show interest in the presentation. So props, it's better that the speaker occasionally uses some props to create interest and get back the attention of the audience. Use an online or a small card to stay on track so that you will not be able to get nervous, fearing that you have missed the point. If possible, visit the place where you're speaking and review the available equipment before your presentation. Practice and then practice more. This helps you overcome nervousness of the audience. Practice the complete presentation several times. Do it for some people you are comfortable with, or ask for feedback after the presentation. It may also be helpful to practice with a few people with whom you are less familiar, so that you will know how you will be able to arrange your mental frame of mind. Consider making a video of your presentation so you can watch it and see opportunities for improvement. Visualize your success. Now, if there is any room for nervousness when you when you are going for a presentation, you just visualize that your presentation is going to be a success. Imagine that your presentation will go well. Positive thoughts can help decrease some of your negativity and relieve some anxiety. Take deep breathing. Stay calm for some time. Take 2 or more deep, slow breaths before you get up to the podium and during your speech. Focus on your material, not your audience. People mainly pay attention to new information. Now, the audience is looking forward when you start a presentation, hoping to get some new information from your talk. So that is their focus. And you try to see if you will be giving some new points, new talk, new information to them. And they're not very bothered about how you present it, but they're more bothered about the content. Now, they may not notice your nervousness. The audience will support you even when you are nervous, and they just try to encourage you to be successful, and they're more bothered about the content. So don't make the audience be a point of your nervousness. Don't fear a moment of silence. If you lose track of what you are saying or start to feel nervous, your mind goes blank. It may seem like you have been silent for an eternity. In reality, it's probably only a few seconds. Even if it is longer, it's likely your audience will not mind a pause. Consider what you have been saying. Just take a few slow, deep breaths. Visualize and recognize your success. After your speech or presentation, give yourself a pat on the back. It may not have been perfect, but chances are you are far more critical of yourself than your audience is. Your audience has appreciated your presentation, but you're not very positive about your presentation. You're very critical. Just try to be positive. Think of all the good things that you have said and ignore some of the negative things in your presentation. It is quite common that there will be some negative things. We are not all born to be perfect. We tend to make mistakes even with a lot of preparation. So let this not be an issue for you to be critical. Do not look at the mistakes you made. Just look at how you can make these mistakes as an opportunity to improve yourself and be better in the next presentation. If you are only public speaking for the ego trip of having an audience love you, you will face the risk of being destroyed by an enemy audience. Now, the audience is not bothered about, just trying to come to you and listen to you, but they're more interested about what you are trying to convey to them. So focus on the message that you want to convey and not on just trying to win the appreciation of the audience. If, however, you switch your focus to an authentic message you deeply believe in, and it is an important issue, even when the audience feels uncomfortable or they are negative towards you on the way, once you find yourself giving a very effective point on the message that you believe in, something that goes beyond your desire to be loved by the audience, you will become bolder and more fearless than you thought possible. So, Your confidence should be based on the topic that you are conveying, not just trying to win the audience support. Here, your audience liking for you becomes secondary, and it can turn from enemy to a supporter. Visualize success. Internal dialogue from worrying about the negative towards supporting your confidence. It can boost your confidence. It will help you impress. You have to stay engaged with the audience. Take the audience on board with your first line. Just try to engage your audience as soon as you go on the stage by asking a question that guarantees that everybody will give, at least 90% of the audience will raise up their hand and give an S to the question that you have asked. Now, eliciting the audience support at the very beginning ensures half the battle is won and you are very confident in your presentation. Write your speech word for word. Good speaking begins with good writing. Good writing depends on good editing. What is interesting in reading the drafts is not what is included in the speech. It was how much was taken out. Every word has a purpose. First, quick. Name the greatest speeches you know of. Pick your favorite. The Gettysburg Address, Kennedy's inaugural, I Have a Dream, Reagan's speech after the Challenger explosion. These were all scripted. In I Have a Dream, Dr. King reads from a manuscript until he gets to the point, I have a dream portion. It appears as if he was just speaking from memory, but actually it was being read out from a written manuscript. A manuscript helps the speaker say what you intend to say, all that you intend to say, only what you intend to say. Practice the speech over and over again so that you know the speech and you don't have to look down the entire time at your manuscript. And if it is written word for word as you practice your speech, you will know exactly how long your speech is. You will have more complete, more effective presentations if you write them carefully, word for word, before you present them. Writing will compel you to think about what you want to say and how you want to say it. You can also think about the choice of words and other ways to make your message more powerful while writing out your speech. You can pay more attention to the transition words like, hence, so, therefore, and the flow of speech so that your main objective is achieved. The only exception is that if you're a very well-versed speaker, even for well-versed speakers, if you are made to speak on a topic you're not familiar with, you will be able to do very well if you have written out your presentation word for word. You will always try to give your best shot if you have a word for word presentation. Bring life to your words with colorful images and examples. This is where your style becomes apparent. Choose words which evoke the audience imagination. You make them feel, experience what you are saying. It's not just making them hear your speech, but you have to make them experience what you are saying. Visual aids can enhance your presentation. They can increase the audience understanding of the topic, explain points, make an impact, and create enthusiasm. Importance of vivid language. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, when the speaker is speaking, if the speaker is very effective in creating a visual impression of what he is saying in the minds of the audience, I think it is, a great attempt. Vivid language paints a clear picture using descriptive language, energizing and making memorable mental images stick in minds. Vivid language is a way to write or speak. It clarifies meaning and makes the text stand out. Examples: the August sun beat down on the back of the exhausted gardener like a furnace turned on high. The weathered, wrinkled face of the grumpy pirate made him appear scary to those who mistakenly crossed his path. Vivid imagery. Now, today is World Poetry Day. Where else do we use imagery more than in poetry? Imagery is the use of language that appeals to our senses. Vivid imagery appeals to the senses to help picture the author's meaning. Use descriptive words that tell how something feels or smells or make things more vivid. Example of vivid imagery: the apple pie smelled of cinnamon and other spices. The sweetness of the brown sugar complemented the tart taste of the crisp apples in the crust. It was warm and made me feel comforted just by eating it. Color words such as the sky blue added a dimension to an example that helps a mental picture. Words such as rough boards add imagery and vividness also. 6 words that can change the way you speak. Make a point, tell a story. The speaker should have a point to share rather than explain that point. Needs to have some discover it through experiencing as part of the story. Ensure your speech has a point. Your audience is giving you their time. So make sure you are not wasting it with a speech that has no point. Make sure you have a point, but avoid having too many points, since too many messages can be problematic as well. Before you begin writing your speech, you must first establish the main topic about which you plan to speak. Brainstorm early and often. Even just talking through your ideas with another person is a great way of getting ideas. Get ideas for your topic, do a little preliminary research, see what others may have written or said about general topic. Reading their ideas may help give you some ideas or direction of your own. Why story matters. Storytelling creates a powerful connection between the speaker and the audience. It makes the presentation or speech more than just an organized group of words. Telling stories brings the message to life as the speaker envelops the core message with brilliance and color of anecdotes. This makes the message more relevant and more interesting to the listeners. The stories shared by the speaker connect the speaker with the audience in ways that makes the entire message more memorable and well received. 6 emotions that will connect with the audience: happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, disgust, and fear. Stirring emotions in an audience is a way to get them involved in the speech, and involvement can create great opportunities for persuasion, and action. Emotional appeals require honed delivery skills and ability to use words powerfully and dramatically. The ability to use vocal variety, cadence, and repetition to rouse an audience emotion is not easily attained. Think of how stirring Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech was due to his ability to evoke the emotions of the audience. Dr. King used powerful and creative language in conjunction with his vocalics to deliver one of the most famous speeches in history. Personal anecdotes. A personal anecdote is a short story about an experience in your life. It is actually very provocative, interesting, humorous, and shocking, and touching, you name it. The audience get easily connected to you. Do not underestimate the power of laughter. French author Victor Hugo quotes, "Laughter is the sun that drives the winter from the human face." When we laugh, we relax. When we relax, our minds are more receptive to learning. Humor creates a bond between the speaker and the audience. It energizes people and keeps them engaged. Humor can provide emotional relief. It helps the audience remember your points. Humor leaves the audience with a good impression of the speaker. Do not tell us, take us. Rather than describing the incident like a reporter, take us as an eyewitness to the event by acting it out with movements, gestures, and vocal inflections. This puts us right there in the middle of action. When your actions are wedded to your words, the impact of your speech will be strengthened. Now, the speaker should create such a feeling. The speaker should mentally, emotionally transport the audience to the place of action. Now, for example, if it is, something that the speaker is trying to point out, an accident or a war, especially a history teacher when teaching history, if the history teacher is just trying to explain to the students something about a war or a battle, if the history teacher can be able to mentally transport the students to the place of the war and, create an impression of all the activities that is taking place, the students will enjoy the lesson thoroughly. So take the audience to the place of action and do not give it like a reporter. Do not give the story like a reporter. Now, for everything, there is an exception. However good we are, there appear some barriers to speaking skills. Speaking is a spontaneous and active process. A good speaker speaks with confidence and without hesitation. He impresses the listener with fluency, pitch, and the tone of his voice, audience, and suitable words. However, at times, a speaker fails to impress his listeners. There are bound to be certain barriers in effective speaking, and let us just see some of the barriers in effective speaking. Lack of confidence. Lack of confidence is one of the major barriers to speaking effectively. Often, most of the speakers fail to express their ideas confidently. They speak with pauses and their speech lacks coherence. Their inner nervousness is evident from their faces. Lack of planning. An unplanned speech fails to impress the listeners. Often, Speakers do not give consideration to the subject, audience, place of meeting, and audio-visual aids. Their speech fails to produce desired results due to lack of planning. Poor atmosphere. The atmosphere or setting of a speech includes the size of the meeting place, suitable light, seating arrangement, temperature, etc. The atmosphere in which a speech is delivered plays an important role in the success of a speech. If the atmospheric barrier is overcome, an effective speech is ensured. Wrong choice of words. Wrong choice of words is another barrier to effective speaking. If a speaker is not careful about the choice of words, or the words are not suitable for the occasion, he will not be understandable to the listeners. The speaker may annoy the audience. As a result, the image will be distorted. Poor gestures. Gestures are the movements of our limbs that are used to contribute to the impression of the speech. While making a speech, gestures should correspond with words. Excessive or improper use of gestures may mar the impression of speech and at times bore the audience. Another barrier of effective speaking is wrong style. The style of pitch includes tone, pitch, volume, pronunciation, speed, action, etc. If the style of your speech is faulty, the speech will fail to create a very effective impression. The listener will not pay attention to the speaker, rather will ridicule the speaker. Challenge specific worries. When you are afraid of something, you may overestimate the likelihood of bad things happening. List your specific worries, then directly challenge them by identifying probable and alternative outcomes and any objective evidence that supports each worry or the likelihood that your feared outcomes will happen. In closing, I would like to tell about the importance of effective communication skills. Speaking is a productive skill. It is a capacity to put words together meaningfully that ensures an effective speech. To reflect thoughts, opinions, and feelings well, it is the ability to stand out from the rest of the people that your ability will be seen. Ability to benefit derivatively. What does that mean? Well-developed verbal skills can increase one's negotiation skills. It enhances your confidence. A growing sense of comfort comes from speaking in front of a larger and larger audience with the right verbal and body language. When you speak well, there is a personal satisfaction. Speakers who have experienced a connection with an appreciative audience often find a deep level of fulfillment. The normal sense of nervous tension can give way to feelings of accomplishment and exuberance when an audience expresses its outward appreciation to the speaker. It is a reward of sorts for all the hard work and preparation that goes into honing effective speaking skills. Good speaking skills are important for career success. Good speaking skills are not just limited to one's professional aspirations. When we have good speaking skills, it enhances one's personal life and brings about the well-rounded growth that we all should seek. Thank you very much.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.